Sorry, I can't take the wig. I shoved the synthetic strands back across the register. I pulled a cheap, pill-covered beanie over my scalp. It was itchy, ugly, but it hit the barren, bruised skin underneath. Laughter bled through the front door of my parents' house. Over the din, my nephew Hunter was shrieking. I dragged a lungful of air into my burning chest. I knocked. The door swung open. Brooke beamed at me. She poked her head out, her face plastered with a level of enthusiastic warmth I had never seen from her before. Cleo, finally. We've been waiting forever. Her manicured nails dug into my bicep. She yanked me inside before I could blink. A strange older couple perched on the living room sofa. Their eyes swept over me like scanners. A younger guy stood beside them. Chris suit, slicked hair. The textbook definition of a corporate golden boy. Brooke shoved me toward him. This is my little sister, Cleo. Don't they just look perfect together? A forced ambush blind date. The air in the room suddenly felt too thick to breathe. Brooke, She clamped a hand on my wrist, hauling me into the hallway. Cleo, Mom and Dad set this up, she hissed. Don't you dare ruin this for them. I glanced past her shoulder. My parents were actually smiling. The protest died in my throat. The heat is blasting in here. Take that ugly thing off. Brooke reached for my beanie. I jerked back. My spine slammed against the wall. Brooke's smile froze. I'm just getting over the flu, I blurted out, my heart hammering against my rib. Chills. I need to keep it on. Her eyes narrowed, flashing with cold, impatient annoyance. Dinner was an ambush. Silas just made regional director, his mother bragged, waving her fork. He and Cleo would be a power couple. Silas offered a modest, almost shy smile, a perfect act for my parent. The ball is in her court. He was sizing me up, waiting for me to fall in line. I pushed peas around my plate. The dining table fell dead silent. My mother's elbow jammed into my ribs. Stop staring at your food and talk to Silas. I set my fork down. The metal clinked against the porcelain. Actually, I'm not. Before I could finish, Hunter lunged from his chair and ripped the beanie right off my head. The clinking of silverware stopped. The entire table went completely still. Hunter pointed at my bare, veiny head and shrieked with laughter. Cleo is a bald freak. So ugly. I scrambled. My fingernails scraped the hardwood floor as I snatched the fabric and shoved it back over my skull. I dragged my gaze up. They were all staring. Silas's mother recoiled, her lip curling in revulsion. Her hair is gone. Is she diseased? Brooke jumped up, her chair screeching. She's perfectly healthy. Just going through an edgy phase. It'll grow back in no time. Nobody bought it. Silas stared at me. The polite corporate facade melted, leaving clear disgust. I don't have a fetish for bald women. He tossed his napkin onto his plate. They walked out. The front door slammed shut. Hunter lunged at my head again, his grubby fingers clawing for the beanie. A wave of nausea hit me. I shoved his shoulder hard. He stumbled back, hitting the floor with a heavy thud. The wailing started immediately. Grandma, Grandpa, Aunt Cleo hit me. I opened my mouth to speak. A sharp slap exploded across my cheek. Chapter 2. Mom's face twisted with rage. You did that on purpose, didn't you? Humiliating me in front of them. And now you're bullying Hunter. Dad loomed behind her. Your mother is right. You knew about the setup. You buzzed your hair just to embarrass us. You slapped us right in the face. Fire blistered across my cheek. My throat seized. You only care about your image, I choked out, fighting the raw sting in my eyes. Did you ever stop to think that I might be Cleo enough? Brooke's voice sliced through mine. She slipped her arm around Mom's shoulders, playing the perfect, understanding daughter. Mom, Dad, she's just acting out. Don't let her spike your blood pressure. Mom swiped at her dry eyes. What did I do to deserve such an ungrateful daughter? Brooke rubbed her back. Deep breaths, Mom. It's not worth a stroke. Brooke, you're my only saving grace. Not like this. Mom glared at me. Brooke drifted over. Her manicured fingers clamped around my wrist. Cleo, you crossed a line today. We're family. Just apologize to Mom, and she'll let it slide. I wrenched my arm away. Brooke stumbled back, her heels clicking against the hardwood as she caught her balance. Mom lunged. Crack. Another slap connected with my jaw. How dare you touch your sister? Brooke grabbed Mom's elbow, her eyes wide with fake panic. Stop, Mom. It's fine. She doesn't know any better. She's 24. Almost 25. Mom spat. When you were her age, you were already pregnant with Hunter. She's nothing but a constant headache. The air squeezed out of my lung. I stared at the pure disgust etched into my father's face. I couldn't help but laugh. I'm the headache? My voice shook. When Brooke got pregnant, I had to give up all my free time and take high school night classes just to babysit her kid during the day. I gave up my dream college for a cheap state school just to save you money. I hand over every single paycheck. I literally don't have $50 to my name. I'm your daughter too. The words tasted like ash. How can you be this cruel? Mom's face hardened. Why are you always playing the victim? Brooke was missing for 8 years. She lived through hell. What's wrong with giving her a little extra care? So because she was gone for 8 years, I have to pay for it for the rest of my life? Blood pounded in my ears. The room tilted. What if I'm sick? The words finally tumbled out of my mouth. What if I'm dying? Dead silent. Then my dad scoffed. You're faking a terminal illness now just to steal the spotlight? Fine. Then drop dead. I already knew the answer. Why did I expect anything else? Someone had abducted Brooke at a playground when she was 3. My parents lost their minds. Mom stopped eating. Dad quit his firm and drove across the country hunting for a ghost. Year 2. Mom traced a faded photo of Brooke. Let's have another, she whispered, her eyes hollow. Just to feel like Brooke is still here. So, they had me. My name is Cleo. Actually, they originally wanted to name me Spare. Mom stared through the nursery glass and said, she'll never compare to my Brooke. She's just a spare part. Luckily, a pitying nurse put Cleo on my birth certificate instead. Chapter 3. I spent my entire childhood hunting for scraps of affection. A nod. A ghost of a smile. I convinced myself Mom and Dad loved me just as much as the ghost they lost. Then, 8 years later, the ghost walked through the front door. I had a perfect report card clutched in my fist that day. I shoved the door open, ready to finally make them proud. I froze. A girl with a face like a distorted mirror image of mine stood in the living room. Mom and Dad clung to her. Their sobs rattled the picture frame. Our Brooke, Mom choked out, burying her face in the girl's neck. We'll give you everything. You'll never suffer again. I became a phantom in my own house. I scrubbed floors. I desperately tried to please them just so I wouldn't be abandoned. Dad just stared right through me. Cleo, stop hovering. Get out of our sight. Brooke and I shared a birthday. Mom had scheduled a C-section, so my birthday would always belong to her lost girl. Every year, they bought a massive strawberry cake. They lit the candles. They sang the song. But I never got a single slice, not even a crumb. The first birthday after they found her, I thought things would change. I thought we could finally share it. I reached across the table for a fork. Brooke shattered the silence with a piercing wail. wail. Do you love her more than me now? Tears flooded her cheeks. Mom rushed to wrap her arms around Brooke's shaking shoulders. Never. You are our entire world. Brooke thrust a finger at me. Then why did she get my birthday? Mom stroked Brooke's hair, her voice frantic. We only had her because we couldn't find you. She was just a placeholder, sweetie. We never celebrated her. She kissed Brooke's forehead. You are our only daughter. Brooke sniffled. The tears vanished. A smile broke through her tears. Promise me you'll never celebrate her birthday. Ever. Or I'll never speak to you again. They nodded without hesitation. They didn't even look at me. The heavy silence in the dining room snapped me back to reality. Mom took my shock for a confession. Speechless because I caught you in a lie? She sneered. Stop playing these pathetic mind games, Cleo. If it wasn't for Brooke, you wouldn't even exist. Dad slammed his hand on the table. Apologize to your mother and sister. Now, a bitter, hollow laugh bubbled up in my throat as I stared at the people who were supposed to love me. Apologize? Never. I spun on my heel. I grabbed the doorknob. Walk out that door and you're dead to us. Dad roared. Go die in the streets for all I care. I shoved the heavy wooden door open. Freezing air slammed into my chest. My teeth chattered. I dragged my hands into my pockets and kept walking. The cheap acrylic beanie scratched against my raw scalp. I didn't look back, not once. I needed one thing. A decent memorial photo. The leather-bound albums in that house overflowed with Brooke's milestones. I didn't have a single solo picture to my name. I counted the crumpled bills in my pocket. I ducked into a cramped, dusty photo studio on the corner. A bell chimed. An older woman with kind eyes looked up from the counter. She offered a soft, genuine smile. I need a portrait, I rasped. My voice sounded hollow. She pointed to a faded velvet stool. Have a seat, honey. Let's fix up your hair first. My fingers hooked the edge of the beanie. I pulled it off. The harsh fluorescent light hit my bare, bruised scalp.